Hey, Green Machine friends and fans of fun, you get a bonus video this week where we're going to recap all the books that we were shorted for like 3 months. Sad face. Yeah, so we're gonna go over that, and yeah, we're just gonna recap everything, give you an extra video this week because we've been gone for so long, and go over a lot of stuff. There's a lot of ground to cover, so I'm probably just gonna jump right into it. Ghost Spotter number 8. This is Maguire, Gara, and Herring. This is honestly an amazing show. It has felt more focused, and the writing has felt like really spot on than the previous run. I've had a great time with this run. I know it's the same writer, but I don't know what she did that's different, but it feels so much better. So Shannon Maguire, thank you very much. And if you can't tell from the cover, yes, we are probably going to see an emergence of Gwenom coming back, and it seems to be happening. Meanwhile, she's also dealing with Johnny and Sue Storm of her world reappearing and trying to piece together why they've reappeared after disappearing to Latveria for so long. That's probably not good. I mean, you can't just disappear in Latveria as a member of the Fantastic Four, even if you're not really that in their world, and have good things happen to you. So that's finished. Next is Jane Foster Valkyrie, and this, of course, is Aaron Grobek, Rosanos, and Albertov. This is amazing. Absolutely amazing. Go figure it's Jason Aaron, and he's, working with another Thor-themed character. It makes sense, but the writing is so good. The art is good. It's a fun story. Basically centers around, Thor's older brother has escaped Valhalla and has big and terrible plans, and that never really works out for anyone. So it's great. I've had the best time with it. Come check it out. Next is Nightwing 70, and this is Journey to Joker War. If you can't tell, the Joker is in play, and, there's bad things afoot. I do have to say, as someone with a traumatic brain injury, they were pretty true to what it's like having a traumatic brain injury right after KGB had shot Grayson in the head, and how he coped with it, and this is... It felt like they lost their way for a while with the other Nightwings, but they're back onto that, and it feels great. It's honestly a really amazing story right now. I'm kind of shocked how much they've turned it around, because I was really frustrated with the Nightwing run for a while there. This was amazing, so come pick it up. Plus, it's a build-up to the Joker War, so you really gotta check it out. Next is You're the Villain, Hell Arisen, Final Judgment. This is the wrap-up for what happens when Apex, Lex, and the Batman Who Laughs meet in a dark alley and fight it out. It's a great wrap-up. I had a great time with this story. More importantly, DC villain monologues are in full effect these shipments, I guess. Because Lex has an amazing monologue, and the Joker has an amazing monologue in Batman 91, was it? 91?
Yeah.
So good. Yeah, this one's great. It's awesome. I like the end, and the end will lead us to what is happening here. What was that?
That was my phone going off on my laptop.
Oh.
Sorry.
Okay. This will lead us up to Dark Knight's Metal. So there is a lot of good to unpack here. So come check it out. It was great. Aero number 9. This is Zhu, Chu, and Kang. This is, it's just really good. I like that. I mean, she's not just like a new hero who they're a newer hero who they're fleshing out, but they're doing weird things with her power set. So right now, currently, she can make another avatar of herself out of air. It's just fun stuff that I like to see. I like it when characters play with certain characters. Was that an Avatar, the last Airbender thing? Could he make another version of himself with air? No. So they're taking it in wild new ways. It's really cool to see. So come check this out. It's great. Had a great time with it all around. Plus, it sort of touches on like a bit of her origin. It was cool. This is Predator Hunters 3. If you can't tell from the cover, it's glow in the dark. This is the glow in the dark variant. I don't know how many of these we have left, but the mainline cover is pretty awesome too. There's a good lesson here, because it seems to happen repeatedly in Predator's history. if you are a drug dealer in the same universe where predators exist, you're probably going to be killed around drugs. And this is no different. That's what happened in this issue. It's what happened in the last issue. It's what happened in, I think, Predators 2. Predators Hunters 2. So that's a really dangerous profession in a lot more ways than normal. But it was a good read. I'm having a good time, and the predator hunters are going into place to hunt the predators, which I can't wait to see how that plays out. So it's a good story so far. It's just it doesn't feel a lot different, so you're gonna have to read it to see what I mean. It doesn't mean it's bad. Next is Transformers Rise of the Decepticons, issue number 19 by IDW. This is Ruckley, Malkova, and La Fuente. This is outstanding. I think I've said before, the politics of the Transformers universe in a lot of ways feel like robots in Game of Thrones. That's sort of what it feels like. There are so many backhanded moves and tragedies and just weird plays that work out in different ways. And meanwhile, in this one, we do see Orion Pax, who is Optimus Prime, sort of butting heads with the current Prime. We see the Decepticons pretty much revealing who they are, and we see Cybertron falling. And ultimately, all the Transformers are prepping to get on Lodestar, it feels like. So there's so much goodness. It's great. You really have to see the twists and the way like people get played. At one point, you see Bumblebee in a Decepticon symbol, which is... That's wrong. So, yeah, just for that alone, you gotta see it. Next is Ta-Nehisi Coates, Bob Quinn, Matt Mia. Of course, we're talking about Captain America, and this is issue 20. It's outstanding. It's great, and it's weird to say because, again, Coates, like 6 months ago, it felt like a slog reading Captain America comics. It felt like every single time Captain America encountered someone, they called him Captain Hydra. I couldn't stand it. And his redemption story has been amazing. This is, well, they're embedding themselves to figure out the big bad, which has to do with, I think, demonics, creatures of some kind. So they're sort of dealing with that. Let me move the mic a bit. Meanwhile, they've got something going on in Madripoor, which of course is going to tap Black Widow and her team, and it's just fun. It's good. I like it. This is the way Cap should be. This is some good Cap. So yeah, come pick that up. Next is He-Man and the Masters of the Multiverse. And, well, there's been so much good with this. There's been a lot across the board, different He-Man franchises and made-up franchises sort of coming together. There's been the fight with the anti-He-Man, who's gathering all the power swords and combining them with his black power sword. Meanwhile, they pose the question that, is the Skeletor of the anti-He-Man universe perhaps a He-Man himself? Is he a good guy? Can a Skeletor be a good guy if he's just good enough? And I don't know. We're gonna see how it plays out. There's a lot of wickedness and a lot of fun, and the writer really plays fast and loose with the mythos. I mean, there's not a ton of mythos that you can really play hard with. I'm gonna need to take a break here. Next is DCeased, Unkillables #2. And while I love this series, I've liked the DCeased stuff. I'm still having issues with the art. The art is not my jam, and I can't really figure out why. Do I like a lot of the stuff? Yes, I do. I like seeing Orphan wearing the black Batman no eyes Orphan look. Batwoman eyes. I shouldn't say Batman, but and then I like Jason Todd being in the story. I sort of like the premise, although it's just I don't know. This feels a little weird. It just feels weird. It doesn't feel like the other like let loose DCeased Unkillables like storylines. This one's it's a little tame at times. It's not my favorite yet. It's getting better. It's getting better, but this issue in particular, I kind of struggled with, I'm going to say. And I'm not wholly sold on the art. Something about the art is weird to me. I don't like it. Anyways, but I will say the variant for this is a Full Metal Jacket variant of Jason Todd's Red Hood, and that's awesome. And, you know, anything with Red Hood always gets a plus for me. So if that sounds like your jam, or you really, really like the DC stuff, come pick it up. Next is Hexagon, and there's a lot to unpack about this story. First of all, the art. I loved the art, oddly enough. I was worried at first look that it was going to feel generic. It did not. The art was on point. This is Maurici Rapak and Lee, and it says Don Diablo Presents. This storyline is essentially, if you can't tell, it takes place in arcades of old, and there's Capcom video games there and Pac-Man, so it's probably ways back, but it sort of feels modern at times. I think it's just the art style. This is, though, it feels like it's paralleling The Last Starfighter. So if you know The Last Starfighter, you grew up with The Last Starfighter like we did when you were kids, you're probably going to really like this. If you like retro video games, you're probably going to really like this. There's just a lot of fun to it. I had fun with it. But it's reminiscent of my childhood. If those sort of things don't appeal to you, this is probably not your jam. Next is Firefly, issue 15, created by Joss Whedon, no doubt, but written by Greg Pak. And then Lalit Kumar Sharma and Francesco Segala are the art powerhouses. And powerhouses is a good name for it. Normally, I don't like the art with a lot of pencil sketching that feels like light on ink. But for whatever reason, with the Firefly universe, it just feels like the proper amount of grit. It feels proper and good. I like it. Basically, Mal is a sheriff for a planet, and he's sort of, or a planet settlement, and he's sort of working to make everything work, and it's sort of, at times it puts him at odds with his friends, so he's balancing two lives, but it's great. It's great. This is the kind of Firefly stuff I love and want to see. And more importantly, there's a variant that says it's from the Firefly, the animated series, and I had no idea that was coming, and I need to know what that is. So we're going to look into that. But this is issue number 15. It's great. If you're a Firefly fan, you will love this. Come pick it up. Next is a book I tried really hard to like, and it's okay. That's DeFalco, Lee, Cantwell, Roche, Couchier, Horak, Sobrero, Ramos, and Farrell, and that's Iron Age 2023, riveting tales from the robot revolution. And maybe it's just the fact that I can't stand Machine Man. I think he sucks. Machine Man with machine hearts. Sorry, I'm quoting rivets. I'm quoting The Dictator, Charlie Chaplin's monologue. Yeah. But I will say, the other stories in this, aside from the Machine Man story, they're okay. They're not bad stories. I actually had a good time with them. I don't care much for the premise. It's basically an AI revolution. Some of the AI don't want to hurt humans. Some of the AI see hurting humans as necessary. It goes back and forth and puts people on opposite ends. The problem with doing that is the cast of characters I don't know and mostly don't care about. There's stuff tied to Tony Stark that I know and really care about, and the rest of them, do you really care about the Bane Industry stuff a lot? Do you care about the various AIs that have sprung up in like the last year tied to the Bane Industry stuff? Maybe not. Probably not. And some of these characters are older, but I still didn't care about them back then. So, at any rate, if you really want some robot revolution stuff, like you want a tamer version of the Terminator, well, it's right here. Come pick it up. The other two stories were good. There was like a cat, I think it was a robot cat AI thing that was kind of fun. And then there was sort of robots killing humans and other robots objecting to that, and that was kind of fun to see. The rest of it, not so much. Next is Wicked Things, and this is Allison, Sarin, and Kogar. And the art was amazing. This centers around, somebody pursuing the Teen Detective Detective of the Year award, I guess it is. And it pits her against other detectives that are well known. And it's mostly, I think it's like a game thing where they all meet up and sort of compete type deal. It was sort of explained, and the main character is a little starry-eyed in meeting all these famous detectives. Meanwhile, she gets framed for murder. Actual murder. So that's wild. I want to see how it's going to play out. It was a little unexpected. It's from Boombox, and I don't like these Boombox titles for me are sort of hit or miss. This one seemed pretty darn good. I had a good time with it, so not much to complain about. I would say check it out if you like detective stories. If you don't like detective stories, then you can skip it. Next book on our list is the world's greatest comic magazine. Of course, we're talking about the Fantastic Four. This is Slot, Medina, and Albertov. And, well, the Fantastic Four have returned to Earth, and their numbers have grown because, well, everyone's on the Fantastic Four at some point. And, well, what happens when some of the mole men defect, and it turns out they've been living under tribal land for hundreds of years longer than the tribes were there, so they've joined the tribes and pissed off mole men. So what happens then? This seems like a rather tense subject, but it was kind of cool to see that there was like a tribe that accepted the mole men. And like, it's very weird. But I will say that I had a good time with it, oddly enough. It's strange, to be sure. The art is on point, and I don't know if this is going to be a touchy subject or not. I'm kind of waiting to see. But it's a good read. Honestly, Dan Slott has sort of returned the First Family to fun. I remember, again, this is another book that lulled a few issues back and then sort of came back into form. So I've been having a really good time with this, so not much to complain about here. So come check this out. I saw you freeze up while I was describing that. He was like, oh. Okay, so X-Force, issue number 9. This is Benjamin Percy, Joshua Cassera, and Dean White. And, well, this opens with just about one of the funniest scenes I've seen in mutant history, and that's mutants sitting around playing Spin the Bottle, except they're playing Spin the Bottle with mutants with healing factors to see who can take a stab for a slice from the other mutant that spun the bottle. That's messed up, man. I had a really, really good just that opening scene alone was great. Furthermore, phone ringing. 1 second.
Thank you. We got one!
And then, if that's not enough, then, did you want to count down, or are we good? Okay. If that's not enough, then the poor old Black Tom has been working with Krakoa to make sure that the fauna is all provided for and that all the mutants are safe and accounted. So he's basically working with Krakoa 24/7, and he says it's like having a million voices in your ears. So he, all at once, like watching millions of TVs, I think is the way he words it. So he just needs to let his hair down. So he's at this mutant mixer, and he's got a big punch bowl full of a volcano, and he's just excited and ready to drink it. And lo and behold, somebody bumps him and is rude and needs to be regulated on. So Black Tom is struggling with Krakoan life. He's struggling. So old Beast is going to put him out in the field and let him let his hair down for a few days and work with a team. So there's so much fun in this X-Force title. And granted, I know it's like their CIA operation team, but there's just a lot of comedy and good stuff here. So come check it out. It's great. It's great. It's great. So yeah, issue number 9. Come pick it up. Next is Boom Studios along with IDW, and this of course is the infamous, the amazing Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and TMNT crossover. This is Parrot, DeMio, and Biomonte. And well, in this issue, if you can't tell from the cover, we're going to see Power Turtles and Ninja Rangers, and it's awesome. You get a lot. The Power Turtles, along with April O'Neil as the Pink Ranger, are going to take on some old foes in larger forms, and then the Ninja Rangers have to draw upon their ninja powers. Keep in mind that even though they've lost their power coins, they are still Rangers at heart. These are Splinter's words. And they're going to have to invade the Technodrome to save Tommy, the Green Ranger. So there's just so much good in this. This has honestly been one of my favorite crossovers. I have had such a good time. But again, I'm a huge Ninja Turtles fanboy, so you know how I'm definitely biased towards TMNT stuff, but I have loved this. Come pick it up, it's great. Next is another book that I absolutely love, and this is Sol Saez, Prianto, and Rosenberg, and this, of course, is Star Wars issue number 4. Now, this takes place after Empire and before Jedi, and it's the Lost Years. How many years were in between the two? Do you remember?
No, I don't. I
Because
should.
I seem to remember that Lando was embedded for like a decade or
yeah, 10
something.
years almost.
So this has got a lot of room to work. But and again, if I was Lando, I'd be mad. Like, they didn't tap him till the very end of that thing.
That's true.
He was there for a long time. There is a lot in this. You see a lot of stuff that you don't normally see. You want to see Lobot kick Stormtrooper butt with a mouse droid? Yeah, that's weird, but it works. There's so much stuff. If you can't tell from the cover too, Leia and Carbonite, like, they're going a lot of weird ways, but it's stuff that you're like, well, I mean, they never said it couldn't happen, and it doesn't ruin the source material, so let's see how this plays out. I'm having the best time with it, so if you're a Star Wars fan, you will love this stuff coming out of this comic right now. Next is Batman number 91. We covered Batman 92 in our previous, but this is the catch-up. And, of course, this is the build-up towards the battle with, what's his name? The designer who has been, that's a terrible name. It's a terrible costume. I don't like his costume either. He looks like Vin Diesel and Triple X crossed with a mask. Like, it's not, yeah, it's really weird. He's got a fur coat and it's just weird.
Oh, yeah.
It's Craven the designer. I don't know what's going on with this guy. Okay. So I don't like the character, and obviously it's a big reveal for something else that's coming, but the plan has been in place for 20 years, and one of the things I loved about this, and I mentioned it earlier, is there is a Joker monologue at the beginning of this issue that is just friggin' amazing. It's so good, so grand, and oh god. That monologue alone, in my opinion, is worth buying the issue. It's a good issue. As a Batman fan, I had a lot of fun with it, but I'm going to tell you flat out that monologue is just amazing. It's peak Agent of Chaos. Come check it out. It's great. So Batman 91, if you're a Batman fan, you will love this. Bang! And, of course, on the front cover it says, I effing love this comic. It's literally everything I want out of my favorite creators. Blank. I don't know what that means. This is how you make comics. I gotta tell you, Bendis isn't wrong. That was Brian Michael Bendis with that quote. I had a really, really good time with this book. It centers around a main character who he's got on his belt. He has three pods. One of the pods can give him super intelligence, one of the pods can give him super strength, and one of the pods can give him super agility. And heightened senses, sorry. And he can't take them all at once. If he takes them all at once, he has a psychotic breakdown. So, what does he do in these situations? He has to take just one, maybe two at most. But yeah, it's pretty cool. On top of that, his lore is that he doesn't know who is providing him with these chemicals, and they don't work for anyone else. It's tailored to his DNA. So this is a wild, good read. There's a lot of action. It definitely feels like an everyday man thrown into a situation that's wild, and he does what he can with it. And he's still trying to piece together the puzzle. Bang is amazing. This is some lore that I've wanted from superheroes for a long time. And granted, he's not really a superhero per se. I don't know, super chemical hero. Well, I guess because the question is full-blown a superhero, and he's just got a mask and those chemicals, right?
Batman.
Yeah, Batman too. Batman's a superhero, and Batman's just a man. Yeah. So I guess it counts. It's just a different take on it this time. Although there is a lot of question feel to this character, I will say that. I I'm having a good time. This is Matt Kent, Wilfredo Torres, Nyong Kim, and Kate Piecos. Yeah, come pick this up. It's amazing. It's awesome. Yeah, I don't know. I always debate about that whole thing because it's like, okay, they count as superheroes, but are they super? And then somebody cracks out with Batman. And I'm like, yeah, okay, you're right. Because Batman is very, very super, but he's still a man.
I mean, no one can beat his plot armor, so that's his superpower.
Yeah.
Batman who last beat it now.
Yeah, that's true. But yes. Yeah, debates around the comic shop. A Day of Reckoning comes for Marvel's Young Heroes, and this is Ewing Jacinto and Grunter Yurn. I have a hard time with that name. And this is Outlawed #1. So let me set the stage for you, and a little bit of spoilers. I got to give it to you if I'm going to talk about this. This centers around the Kamala Act. What is the Kamala Act? Well, the Champions had a mission, and that mission went about as sour as any mission could go for superheroes. A lot of people were injured, maybe killed. On top of that, Kamala Khan herself was injured in this exchange. So not only does the world seem to know who some of these superheroes are now, they know their kids, and they don't want them superheroing. And there's a lot of debate between it. A lot of the heroes are on one side and on another. If this feels very Civil War-esque, I think there's good reason for it. I think it's at times parroting it. So yeah, it's good though. It's good. There is a good sense of desperation. I'm having fun with it. I like the premise, but I always sort of like that whole the government overreaches into stuff it shouldn't, and whether or not the heroes like fight it or go with it. I've always liked that sort of stuff. So anyways, issue #1, come pick this up. It's amazing. It was awesome. The art was great. I had nothing to complain about. It's a good premise. I want to know where they're going with it. I'm going to probably think about this from days to come. Come pick it up. Next is Spider-Woman #1, and this is Pacheco Perez Sequeira Jr. and Darmada. This was amazing. Really, really good. I mean, it starts out very Ghostbuster 2-esque, where Spider-Woman is sort of, at a birthday party for a kid. And, she's got a new costume on, and she's got to deal with a bunch of trouble. And then it goes into the origin of her new costume, which it turns out it was just like, hey, that costume you wear is kind of risque. And, it's a little curvish, like, maybe let's get with the modern times kind of deal. And so, yeah, I like where they're going with this. More importantly, they do say, and again, spoiler warning, the next issue is going to involve maybe Night Nurse, and I love that character. Like, I want to know what's going to happen with dealing with that, and they're going to try and figure out what's going wrong. So, yeah, it's great. It's awesome. Having a great time. It's a good showing. I like that they've dusted off an old character, and they're making it fresh now. And so, yeah. Come pick it up. It's great. And we've got variants for it, too. Yeah. Do you have something to add? Oh, okay. Next is Jim Zub, Roge Antonio, Israel Silva, and this is Conan the Barbarian, #14, Into the Crucible. Now, last time, Conan bested a bunch of people in an arena and thought he'd won some reprieve, and no, it turns out they threw him into something called the Crucible, which is like a big, deep cavern inside the earth where he's got to fight his way out to become a chosen one for a dark, spidery god. That never works out for these gods or the people that do that stuff to Conan. But there's a lot of twists and turns, and this is, it's really a dungeon crawler. That's what it is. But with Conan the Barbarian, you kind of get that from time to time. And it's great. It's great. I love it. As someone who loves D&D, this is your jam right here. Now, you really have to be partial to Conan. He's sort of, he's a savage and a drunk and at times a bit sexist. So that's what you get. So if you like Conan the Barbarian, you will love it. If you're anyone else, this is probably not the issue to jump in on. Now we're going to do our go and no-go. I have no idea how much time we have left. Yogi's been gone a minute. So we're just going to go for it. So let's see. Captain Marvel, issue #16. This is the 150 Legacy issue. This has been following on the heels of her having her DNA combined with a bunch of the other Avengers. This storyline's weird. I would say unless you've been involved with the storyline, it's a no-go. Definitely don't jump in here. It's not my favorite wrap-up to a story either. It's kind of a weird end. Honestly, it's a no-go for me. Sorry. Next is Deadpool number 4. Thompson, Bacalo, Faucher, and Curiel. It's a go, but if for nothing else, because Elsa Bloodstone cursing and being in an issue lecturing stuff is kind of fun to me. Undone by Blood, The Shadow of the Wanted Man, go! It's a weird story centering around a modern story and a cowboy story being intertwined. I'm intrigued. Go. Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Well, I want to know where they're going with this. It's Peter Quill is dead. I want to know where they're going with this. It's just there's a lot of weird going on. I'm on the fence. On the fence. If you're a Guardians fan, you will like it. Lucifer, number 18. Haven't checked in with him in a while, and this feels really true to the old school Lucifer stuff. It felt like a good time. It's part Norse myth combining with the Sandman mythos, and it's a go. Justice League number 43. I can't stand the Eradicator, and this is where he gets beat, so go. Go. I didn't have fun with the story, I'm not going to lie, but this issue in particular was alright. Starship Down, issue number 1. Stop me if you've heard this before. Giant alien spacecraft found in Antarctica involving cavemen. I've heard it before. Seems kind of tropey to me. It's not to say I didn't have a bad time with it. The art's okay. It's sort of go. Sort of go. I'm on the fence. If that doesn't sound like your jam, then don't pick it up. Atlantis Attacks is the New Agents of